The Jungle was America's largest homeless encampment in San Jose, right in the heart of Silicon Valley. After its closing and with no housing available or enough shelter beds, the community saw a huge increase of unhoused in the streets with literally nowhere to go. A documentary, Exodus from the Jungle, was made about the closing and its aftermath. It raised awareness to the plight of the unhoused in a way that many hadn't known before. After viewing the film, faith communities started a dialogue of what they, as people of faith, could specifically do.
It would be okay if I just died out there in the street. Nobody would know, nobody would care. And here, they really worry about you, and they want you to succeed, and they want to love you, and they do. And it's so much I can barely explain it. It's blessing to all blessings.
That I was part of a group working on various service projects, and we had an opportunity to host a movie, Exodus from the Jungle, in partnership with the Housing for All Alliance. We were able to invite several churches in to come see it, and afterwards we had a brainstorming session about how the movie had affected us and what things we thought as members of faith communities we might be able to do.
The whole community started ramping up about El Nino and about the coming rains and what that would mean for the homeless community. And so that seemed to gather enough community attention and enough attention among the churches to come together and work out a plan. And we were privileged to host the Interfaith Collaborative meetings.
From that, the idea of the Interfaith Collaborative came out with that as one of its goals, sheltering both overnight for daytime use and also safe parking.
As the interest in that grew and more churches came together to talk about what they could do, none of them could really pull this off on their own. But together, it began to seem possible that something could happen.
What was neat was a lot of people were able to find their own comfort zone. Some congregations didn't have the right property or didn't have the right facilities or comfort level in their community to host people on site, but they were able to bring food or support with volunteers on other sites, and so a lot of people were able to sort of cross boundaries that way.
And so the collaborative is well named. It is a collaborative, and so we began to see our way forward. That was the moment where it just all kind of fell into place and made sense for us, that this was our calling, this was our ministry, this is what God was wanting us to do in San Jose.
"55 faith communities were engaged. 16 opened their doors offering overnight shelters, daytime drop-in centers, and safe car parks. 258 guests were served. 38,000 individual meals were provided. Over 1,600 volunteers participated, with over 54,000 volunteer hours put in.
It really is a gift, I think, of hospitality and compassion and kindness, and not everybody has that in this day and age. Or, I don't know, maybe people just think, oh, tragedy or crisis, isn't going to come to my doorstep, and yet things happen every day, just, snap of a finger. So I'm appreciative of those people who are empathetic and understand that, sometimes you need some help.
The idea was if people were going to stay overnight somewhere, that it would be logical and meaningful if they had a place to spend the day, because it would still rain during the day.
We decided that we would do a warming center, and we talked about it at church. And at first, there was a lot of concern around that. And as soon as they saw what the plan was, how we were going to manage things from day to day, they completely relaxed. And within 5 weeks, we went from this nervousness to let's get started.
We set up cots for people to sleep. It's one of those things you don't really realize, right? People who've been on the streets just aren't getting enough rest. And so even though they had a place to stay overnight, they still needed downtime of time to rest.
We set up Wi-Fi for folks so they could do their work, their housing, looking for housing. If they wanted to play a game, they could play a game. We had an area for movies that folks could sit back and watch movies. We had puzzles, jigsaw puzzles out, lots of magazines and books. And we basically just let them on their own. They just decided what they wanted to do.
They're so helpful in so many ways, in so many different ways, from how to teaching to learning stuff from them with computers. If we don't know something, they'll help us, and they'll sit there until we get it, and they go an extra mile for us.
That one-on-one connection, which is so missing in people's lives, is an important thing that we as members of the church can provide and even should provide. It's part of our calling. And it doesn't cost money, and it doesn't cost anything fancy. It's just sitting down in 2 chairs across the table from somebody and having a conversation.
It gives us hope. It gives us hope that we can do it, not look backward where we came from, but to keep going forward, to move and to strive to be somewhere or get out of our situation. And the guidance and everything here has been awesome.
We need to be a place of hope, and that our folks, our guests, don't feel like, they're sort of thrown away garbage. They're low priority. We are a community, and we take care of each other. And I want us to do this again and do it better, and really grow it and open up, and people can be excited about really what they can do instead of being frustrated about what they can't.
Being on the streets does have its challenges. Life is a challenge. But, no matter how difficult life is out here on the street, I'm still going to make the best of it the best way I know how. And that's the way I'm doing my life, which I'm going forward and just meeting the challenges head on and just doing the best as I can in the way I know how to do it.
It's made me just so much more aware of the homeless in general. I see the homeless on the streets more readily. So many of us see them but don't see them. They're there, but we don't recognize them.
The last day we had not really a service, but we sat in a circle and shared the things that we had learned and in the process, and told each other what we meant to each other, and the guests as well as the volunteers. And we had a meal together and said our goodbyes, but it was very painful because they didn't know where they were going.
What are you willing to do to help build a more healing community for all of our neighbors? Please consider offering shelter by showing this video to your community, faith leaders, and social justice committee. If each of us took just a few people in, countless lives could be saved and suffering for many greatly eased. By attending our collaborative meetings, we can help you answer the questions and concerns you may have in how to start sheltering and to get further involved. Please visit our website or Facebook page for our current meeting schedule. All are welcome to attend.